Hello everyone. This hour on Verbling, the next in my Getting Results in Business series. What are we going to do today? We're going to begin a brand new unit starting right now, which is all about, let me go to my description, it's all about doing ethical business. So in this unit, we're going to begin by presenting some vocabulary to help us discuss ethical issues. We're going to move on to some communication skills that will help us promote an ethical way of doing business, an ethical ethos. And we'll deal with the practical language for explaining future plans and making invitations when you have a project, this kind of a project that we'll be reading about. So we'll get a little grammar in there, and we're going to end up in the case study by planning and presenting an event to help promote a company and its ethical position, to help raise awareness for an issue and promote the business itself. So that's a little bit about the class. Here's a bit about me. I'm John Eric, your Verbling teacher for this hour. I'm an American teacher from New York, hanging out in Lisbon, Portugal to bring you this class. By the way, let's see if, there we go, okay. By the way, here are 3 quick rules to help you participate. Don't forget to turn off, tune in, and open up. That means turn off your microphone when you're not speaking so we can keep the classroom quiet. Tune in to the new words and expressions you're learning when you are speaking so I can give you feedback and correct you. Finally, open up to your classmates. Relax and have fun. We're all here to learn, and this is a safe and respectful place to practice your English. And that is a little bit about the class and a little bit about me. If you hang on a second, I'm going to give you the links. If you don't have them open, I'm going to give you the links to the material for today. Give me just a second to get started here. One second. First, I have to get my name on the screen. Verbling teacher, give me a second here. 1 second, almost there. It's a little difficult to download all these things and start the class at the same time. Let's see if you can see me. There we go. Okay. So, let me give you the links. Remember, the links are always under class material, which is on the front page. Okay, but if for some reason you don't see it, presentation 1, there you've got the first link there in the chat window. And for today, we're probably going to be using our notes. So I'm going to create a second link for you, which says notes. Whoops. Okay, so the notes you can open, and the presentation you don't need to because I'm going to share it with you. But if you like, you can. You can download it, have a copy for yourself. I'm going to download it as a PDF so that I can share my screen and see you at the same time, which is always nice. Otherwise, I don't know who's in the classroom. Okay, so let's see if I got this open. Okay, while that's downloading, let me do a quick hello to new faces. So welcome back to Daniel and to Alessia. Nice to have you back.
Thank you.
And Antonio, you're back from the last class as well. Nice to have you back, Antonio.
Thank you. Same to you.
And Sarah. Hello, Sarah.
Hi.
Where are you from, Sarah?
I'm from China.
From China. Very good. And Sarah, so this is going to be the very first class in a unit of more or less 8 classes about business ethics. So this is a conversation class, but for business. Let me fix my screen a little bit there. And what do you do, Sarah? Are you working? Are you studying? What do you do in China?
I'm working. I'm an accountant.
You're a?
I'm an accountant.
Ah, an accountant. Very good.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So hang on just a second, and I'm going to share my screen with you for the presentation. One second. So I have to do a lot of things at the same time. I think I got it open. Okay, so on your screen in just a second, you're going to see the first image. What we often do to begin the unit is just describe the picture and try to find a connection between the image that we see and the theme of the unit. The theme of the unit is ethical business. So, let me ask just a few questions before we start. Alessia, what comes to mind when you hear ethical business? What are some issues or themes that come to mind when you hear that?
I think it could mean two different things. One about attitude when you have a business to be correct and politically correct, and the other things, the other ones, I think it's to do a business with an ethical goal. For example, ecological industry or something else.
Did anyone see the news over the weekend about the climate march in New York? Did anyone see the news?
No.
Yes, I saw the news. After the assembly in UN,
right?
Demonstration has been organized in various areas, including New York. New York has a biggest demonstration. People demand to prevent climate change, and for that, government to spend more money to prevent radical change, climate change.
Yeah, that's basically it. So you had the UN having their climate meeting with Al Gore and Ban Ki-moon, and then you had 3 or more 100,000 people in the street. That's over a 250,000 people just showing up to New York and marching. That is a big demonstration. Over a 250,000 people showed up to demonstrate. So back to Alessia's point about doing ethical business with something in mind, like, you know, climate issues or whatever, because that's what you were saying. Point number 2 was doing business with an ethical, with a cause or a purpose in mind, right, Alessia? That's what you were saying. So that's a good example because that just happened over the weekend. So what do you think the issue was? I mean, the UN is having the climate summit, so why were there over a 250,000 people in the street? Do you think that they agreed with the climate summit? Sorry, Amir, let me just mute you for a second because I'm getting a lot of noise on your connection, okay? So I'm going to mute your microphone, but you can turn it on when you're ready to speak, okay? So what do you think the ethical issue, the ethical business issue was for the marchers? There's no right or wrong. I'm just curious what you think. Class?
Okay.
Class.
Okay.
Why do you think they felt the need to demonstrate? Since it was a climate summit at the UN, why were all these people in the street?
I think it's obviously the people beginning to understand the real effect about our pollution, because everyone produced pollution, and it's very difficult now to stop the changing. But the effect of the climate, it's under our eyes.
Yeah, everyone can see it. Yeah.
I think people gathering in demonstration focused on the climate change that caused the disasters. Recent years, there are a series of disasters like typhoon, tsunami, hurricane, forest firing.
Forest fires?
forest fires.
Right.
So people now understand that, that now there are climate change, big climate change is going on all over the world. And they also think that we have to take measures to prevent it. So that yes.
So in other words, we might want to add here that they're probably not satisfied with the climate change summit at the UN, because the climate change summit at the UN is just governments and big business. So probably they feel that there's something unethical going on there. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm bringing it up because there's probably some mistrust, and in fact, they probably feel something unethical is going on. And there's a lot of attention now to what they call, green companies, but the big ones, because solutions proposed by big business seem to be more and more called into question. Well, anyway, I just thought it was a good thing to bring up since we're looking at this picture, and it helps us maybe figure out what the image has to do with the theme of ethical business. So this is what we usually do when we begin. And for Sarah, who's new, and other people maybe who haven't seen this, what we normally do is start by describing a picture, which is a great skill, particularly if you're going to pass an English test, like the Business English certificate, the first certificate, or whatever. It's a good skill. So to help you with that, if you go to the notes on the first, I can't tell you the page because I'm opening it, but I'll share the screen with you. In the past, I've given you a 4-part structure to help you describe the picture and to link it to the theme. So if you give me a second, I'm going to open that and share my screen with you. One moment. By the way, I'm getting some kind of strange feedback from somebody. I don't know where I'm hearing it from. I'm going to mute everyone just for a second until it goes away. Hang on just a second. I'm going to mute you, and Daniel, I'm going to mute you as well. Daniel, turn your microphone back on for a second, please. Okay, turn it off. And Alessia, turn your microphone on. Is your microphone on, Alessia?
Yeah.
Okay, turn it off. Sarah, is your microphone on? Ah, okay, Sarah, you're having the connection problem. That's what it is. Because I'm getting a funny noise. So listen, Sarah, if you're having trouble or we're having trouble hearing you, you can always leave and then come back. Sometimes that fixes the problem, okay? If you can't fix the problem, it's okay. Just keep your microphone off when you're not speaking, because we're getting this kind of funny noise in the background, okay? So it's up to you. If you want to try to leave and come back, that might fix the problem. Otherwise, no problem. Just keep your microphone off. When you're ready to speak, you can turn it on. Okay, let me share my screen with you, because I want you all to take a look at this, and we're going to take a turn together. Hang on a second. We're going to take a turn together describing the photo using these steps. In the notes, if you scroll down to, let me go past this, jump to topic, you'll see how to describe a photo or picture. In fact, let me tell you the page number as well. On page 5, if you click on that, it takes you down, whoops, it takes you down, I gotta change the page here. It takes you down to page 11 and 12, and you'll see, let me fix this. We've decided on basically 4 steps to put together a description really quickly. We begin by looking at the picture and saying what we see. There are some expressions there, and maybe this class we can add some others. Then we try to make the connection between the picture and the theme by guessing or or speculating about why we're looking at that picture. After that, in order to make a good description, one that sounds particularly good in an examination, but also one that just helps you make conversation with people, we use a function, compare and contrast, to something that you're familiar with, something that you know about. For example, I mentioned the climate change march. That could be something you compare and contrast the picture with. The situation in the picture and the situation over the weekend in New York and other cities. Whatever it is, just to show that you understand the theme. In step 4, it says offer a personal preference or draw a conclusion. Well, if you can reach a conclusion about climate change or ethical business, perfect. Or you can talk about a situation that you prefer or that you favor by saying I'd prefer or well I'd say. Okay? So what we're going to do is go around the room until we have a complete description. So I'm going to copy and paste this under today's class so that you can see it. I'm going to create a new class here. First of all, let me copy and paste this, and then I'm going to write the notes here. There we go. I'm going to make a new class above it that says class unit 22. So unit 22, doing ethical business. Oops, spelled it wrong, sorry. Business. Okay. So I'm not going to share my screen for this. I'm going to share my screen with the picture. Okay, we're going to start there. But I'm going to take the notes on that page. Okay, so now everyone can see the picture. Let's go around the room. The next person to speak on my screen is Daniel. All right. So Daniel, you're going to start us off by telling us one detail that you see. Try to use the key expressions that I've posted for you under Class 22, Doing Ethical Business. There appears to be, there most likely is, there seems to be. You can try to start with one of those and tell us a detail that you see.
There appears to be a landscape from the clean of a mountain.
From the?
Or the summit, yes, from the summit of the mountain.
Of the mountain or of a mountain?
A mountain.
Of a mountain. Okay. So there appears to be. In this case, I would change there to this, because you're not describing an object in the picture. You're describing the entire picture itself. So this picture appears to be, or this appears to be. So this appears to be a landscape from the summit of a mountain. Okay, great. And let's go around the room and so we can all pick out a detail. Ishmael, what would you add to Daniel's description? Give me another detail.
It seems to be
you can add details about where it is, about when it's happening, about why we're looking at it. It's up to you. It seems to be what?
It seems to be some mountain covered with white ice, white snow,
Mm-hmm.
and I see some dark mountain
Mm-hmm.
that wasn't covered with snow,
Okay.
and there are some mist around the hills of the mountains.
Okay. So I'm going to say I see dark mountains, and the expression might be in the distance, farther away, in the distance.
In the distance, yes, I see some dark mountains in the distance without snow.
Okay, so without snow, but covered in mist. I think that's what you said before, mist,
Yes.
right? Like a light fog.
Fog,
Okay, very
yes.
good. Very good. So Sarah, You're next. You can talk about the whole picture, or you can add a detail inside the picture, if you like.
Okay.
Or, go ahead, yes.
It seems to be a snow mountain, a mountain covered by snow, and it's the highest mountain among mountains here. When you stand on it, you can look down all mountains, and you're even above the clouds.
Okay, very good. So, by the way, it's a little hard to hear you. Your connection is not so good. But if I understood correctly, it sounds like you were saying the end of it was standing on the top of the mountain. You can look down, see the mountain range, and in fact, you're above the clouds. Did I get that right?
Yeah, almost.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to add that to our description on, what was it, page 5, I think it was, or page 6 in the notes. That sounds like we've got some good details now, okay? So here's what I'm going to do, Sarah. I'm going to add a connector. Connectors are words or phrases that link together the ideas that we say. Because you're adding more information, I'm going to use an AND connector, like and, but, or, those kind of words. I'm going to use an AND connector. I'm going to say, I could also point out. So there's our connector. I could also point out, and then I'm going to add what you said. By standing on top of the mountain, we can look down at the entire range, mountain range, and or even above the clouds. I think that's what you said. In fact, I'm going to add clouds to the first part because it sounds a little bit better if I put it before. Let's put it like this. So I could also point out, by standing, we seem to be standing on top of the mountain, even above, I should say, even above clouds. And from there, we can look down at the entire range. Okay? I like that because that gives us a little bit more, that gives us some more information that we could use when we get to part 2, which is guessing about why we're looking at this this image. Okay? Okay, so we didn't use there most likely is, but that's okay. I'm just going to put that aside for now. Okay, so what I'm going to do is put in blue all the things we did use. So you can see that on page 6. That's where we are, on page 6. So far we have, there appears to be a landscape from the summit of a mountain, Daniel said. It seems to be some mountains covered with white snow. I also see dark mountains in the distance without snow, but covered in mist. Okay, so far so good. I could also point out we seem to be standing on top of the mountain, on top of one of the mountains, even above the clouds. And from there we can look, I'm going to say look out onto the entire range of mountains. Okay, I think we're pretty good with descriptions. Let's go on to part 2. Guess or speculate about why you're seeing what you're seeing. Okay, so we're going to move on to Yuki. So in part 2, see if you can use one of those key expressions to make a link between the picture and the theme of ethical business. What does this picture have to do with ethical business? Can you make a guess?
They might be climate. I suppose this picture have some connection with the current problem, climate change. As far as today's class will be related with ethical business. So I think it might be environment problem. So I suppose that this snow picture. This picture taken on the top of the high mountain means the current situation of melting snow, melting ice on the highest area of mountains. I heard that recently